Us here on the AM show. The governing New Patriotic Party and the opposition National Democratic Congress say they are fully committed to disbanding political parties' militias in all forms. The two parties, at the behest of the National Peace Council, met on 9th April in response to President Akufo-Addo's call for them to meet on the menace which has gained national attention. After an hour's meeting, Peace Council member Susubribri SKB Asante, who is also the paramount chief of Asokore Mampong in the Ashanti region, indicated the willingness of the parties to cooperate with the security agencies to eradicate the menace.
After an open and exhaustive deliberation, the parties agreed that vigilantism is inimical to Ghana's democratic system and must be eradicated. With respect to the immediate focus of the mediation or dialogue, the NDC is of the view that it should be the eradication of political vigilantism in all its ramifications, while the NPP is of the opinion that the focus should be political party vigilantism in all its ramifications. Significantly, though, both parties agree to engage in deliberations aimed at 1. Disbanding vigilante groups operating within political parties or for political purposes. 2. Prohibit the ownership, hiring, or utilization of such groups by the political parties or members thereof. And 3, cooperating with state agencies and stakeholders in the total eradication of such groups or incidents of vigilantism in the country. It should be noted that the two parties are also committed to exploring other processes in relation to the elimination of vigilantism.
While chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, tells JoyNews his side is ready to disband the groups within its ranks.
We appended our signatures to the documents. It shows that we are fully committed. We can speak for our party, NPP, very much committed to this. And therefore, we will do everything possible to ensure that there is no violence in our politics, intimidation in our politics, and more so concerning the two parties. I think there is evidence of goodwill on both sides. Hopefully, that will see to the end of vigilantism in the country.
My final question would be, once you do this, there's a bill likely to go to Parliament this week. How do you deal with the two? There's a bill, there's ongoing talks.
We are dealing with, between the two parties, that's what we are doing. The bill that will come to the, as you yourself have indicated, before Parliament, I think parliamentarians will deal with it. And whatever it's necessary to add to what we have done, or to support what we have done, or for us to also, in one way or the other, to ensure that the vigilantism and intimidation and violence within the landscape of politics will end.
The NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, however, wants the exercise extended to the national security setup. For him, the background of persons recruited into the setup should be investigated.
It's been very good. We're cordial, the environment was good, and we believe that going forward we'll be able to come out with pragmatic solutions in addressing this issue of vigilantism. We know we are talking about beyond political parties, because even within the security agencies today now, vigilantism is being entrenched in the national security agencies, and that is why we believe that we should not restrict it only to the political parties, otherwise we'll miss the point. And there are other groupings that are also operating outside the political parties whose activities still impinge on our political democratic process.
Well, the second National Peace Council meeting with the parties is scheduled to take place today at the Pejuase Lodge. Let's get on the phone lines and speak to the National Peace Council Chairman, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, on what to expect at today's meeting. Good morning to you, sir. I guess congratulations will be appropriate. This is the second meeting in a month. What's the agenda for today's meeting?
Well, thank you very much. The agenda for today's meeting is a continuation of where we left off. You know, we agreed on basic principles that was outlined, and you've played it, and Asante made it clear, and the leadership of the political parties also did. The question today will be, how do we really, what steps do we take to ensure that the things we have agreed on are carried out? And as you know, the differences between the two parties has to do with one thinking that it should be broadened, and the other saying that let us concentrate on ourselves and how we utilize the two groups. But that should not end there. After we have dealt with this situation, then the others will also be considered. And I think this is going to be on the agenda today for us to say, you know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So, I mean, the steps that we are taking today will not address every issue that is before us. But after we have taken the steps between the two parties agreeing with the goodwill that they have and saying that, look, we are not going to entertain this amongst us. The question that will be raised will be, so from here, what do we do in respect of vigilantism as a whole in our nation? And this is where other issues and other things we would expect will be discussed, and then we'll find a way out.
Is there a monitoring mechanism with the NPC's monitoring mediation or mediating this session? Essentially what I'm asking is, do you have a way of monitoring to check if what you agree on, even though this is early, is actually what the parties are doing on the ground?
There are terms of engagement, and the terms of engagement, and also ensuring that these things are done, will consider monitoring aspects of it. It will be too early for me to say this is how it's going to be monitored. We will have to agree on that, and that will be part of the thing. You see, mediation or dialogue on issues of this nature is a process, and you don't just arrive at conclusions at one or two meetings. I do not envisage that after today's meeting every problem would have been solved, but I think we will be making progress, and part of it will be this monitoring dimensions that you are talking about.
Again, sir, after your first meeting on the 9th, we've had the Vigilantism and Related Offences Bill 2019 come up in Parliament. Is that of a concern to your work?
No, it's not a concern to the National Peace Council. Why? Because we do believe that, you know, listen, part of the problems that we have had in this country, especially the chieftaincy dispute, some of these things, the courts have already dealt with them. And therefore, it would have been easy to say that, oh, the Supreme Court said this. But you still needed to engage the people to agree with even the court, you know, decisions. And therefore, when bills are put, they are good. They are there to help us. They are bills. It becomes a law. But we still need to engage the people, the stakeholders, to ensure that the bill, the purpose of the bill, comes to realization. So I don't think that we are at cross purposes here at all. We are saying that dialogue is very, very essential. It is very, very, very important. Everybody knows that acts of violence is a criminal offense. It is something that already there are laws in place that could address that. What is before Parliament, I believe, is to enhance it. And what we are doing is not, we are not there to enact laws, but we are there to bring to bear on the stakeholders the need for us to ensure that whatever is there. So the bill, the recommendations made by the short commission and whatever will come from us will go to reinforce the need to ensure that vigilantism is totally removed from the political landscape of Ghana.
Finally, sir, who are you expecting from the two political parties to be present at today's session?
All those people who were there in the last meeting, the chairman and their secretaries and the key personalities, we would expect them to be there.
Well, we wish you well, sir, with today's exercise, and hopefully we'll get the same brief as you did give us after the first one. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you kindly.
That's the chairman of the National Peace Council there, talking to us about today's second meeting with the NDC and the NPP geared at disbanding party militias within the two political parties.